Each night, I have the same two visions. One of a field of wheat stalks swaying in the wind. Another of bright, burning flames, trampling horse hooves, and loud screams. My people, the Visigoths, came to Roman lands not as an invading army, but as a people running from a scourge. No, a plague sent by God himself. We warned the Romans of the impending danger, but they ignored us. They despised and distrusted our kind. They treated us poorly, gave us barren lands, and when we suffered famine, they made us sell our children for food. Inevitably, we went to war, and our great army struck a decisive blow to the Romans at Hadrianople. We slew their emperor and forced them to allow our people to settle in Roman lands. Our victory taught the Romans to not underestimate Gothic warriors. In exchange for the land they gave us, our young men would serve in the Roman armies, fighting alongside our former enemies. As wars broke out between the eastern and western halves of the empire, we gathered our spears and served Rome in battle. The dead bodies of young Goth warriors littered the flanks of the Julian Alps. For all the blood we shed, the Romans did not give us even a crumb of gratitude. A Gothic commander in the Roman army encouraged us to desert and go back to our people. Hardship is upon your families, wives, and children, and your people need your help now more than ever, he said. Few had heard of Alaric, this Gothic commander, but he managed to gain a strong reputation during his service in the Roman army. He was a tall man, with a voice that could silence a crowd. When Alaric spoke, all heads turned in his direction, and his eyes flickered with an inextinguishable fire. The elders of the Visigothic tribes elected Alaric king of the Visigoths. Never before had there been a single king, but never before had there been a man like Alaric. We were drawn into another war with Rome. The Romans had failed to fulfill their promises of lands for our families, and Alaric was determined to force them to remember their promises. He marched our army south into Greece. The days the Romans ignored the Visigoths are over, he declared. We will set fire to Hellas! Ancient cities, once renowned for their philosophers and soldiers, were sacked and burnt to ash. The world was changing rapidly, but Alaric had seen visions. Despite our victories, the Eastern Romans still refused to meet our envoys. Instead, we turned west. The half-Vandal general Stilicho was the driving power behind the Western Roman Empire. He knew Alaric from when our king served the Romans. We hoped Stilicho would be more willing to negotiate. Rumors spread that Stilicho was ready to make a deal with Alaric. Our hopes were raised, but as weeks passed with no news, we knew that more Gothic blood would have to be shed. The Romans resented Stilicho for making a pact with barbarians. When parts of the Western Roman Empire were overrun by usurpers and foreign invaders, they blamed Stilicho. He soon learned the hefty price of Roman politics. They declared him an enemy of the state and had him executed. In a frenzy of hate, the Romans followed Stilicho's execution by murdering all soldiers of Germanic descent. Then, in another rush of blind rage, they turned on the families of those soldiers and murdered them too. The survivors flocked to Alaric, begging him to raise his army and march with them into Italy to exact vengeance. Alaric coldly answered them. The Romans have never known fear, but that will change. For all that the Romans did to us, it seemed logical for Alaric to seek their downfall. But that is not what he wanted. After sacking the cities of northern Italy, he met with the Roman Emperor, Honorius. Alaric's demands were reasonable and humble, a sign of reconciliation between our two peoples. And all would have gone well, had it not been for the Gothic commander, Sarus. Sarus had vied with Alaric over the Visigothic kingship, and had lost dishonorably, instead entering Roman service. Jealous of Alaric, he ordered his soldiers to attack our king by surprise and kill him. Luckily, Alaric and his men survived the assassination attempt and escaped. Never had I seen Alaric lose his temper, but Sarus' betrayal infuriated him. He ordered me, his brother-in-law, to commence the siege of Rome. The walls of Rome were huge and had not been breached since Brennus and his Gauls. However, years of decline had weakened the city, and its walls were badly in need of repairs. Inciting the men to battle, Alaric vowed, if the Romans want fire and steel, it is fire and steel that we will give them. During the long weeks spent besieging Rome, Alaric's calm nature returned. He issued an order to the warriors to spare the city when conquered. In his heart, he could not find the will to destroy the empire he had served, though it had betrayed him one too many times. Our brave soldiers breached the walls, and the defenses quickly crumbled before the weight of Visigothic men rushing into the breaches. Our men looted the city for days. We stripped statues and monuments of their gold, and loaded carts with so many precious goods that the wheels were close to breaking. At the end of the third day, a caravan of ox-drawn wagons carrying plunder could be seen as far as the eye could see. The Romans would write of that day, in one city, the whole world perished. With Roman treachery repaid, Alaric looked to the future of our people. He planned to sail us to the fertile Roman province of Africa. But before we left, he passed from this world. Our people mourned for days, and Alaric's body was buried underneath a river stream. The channel diverted to dig the grave, then made to flow again, hiding his tomb forever. Soon after, the fleet that was to take us to Africa sank in a storm. Once again, desperation fell upon our people. It was at that moment of despair that I, as the dead king's brother-in-law, spoke. I reminded everyone of Alaric's dream, of his commitment to the survival of our people, and of the impossible obstacles we had overcome. I told them that Alaric and I shared the same vision, a vision that we, in honor of his memory, ought to fulfill. I concluded, Alaric has carved a path for us, and that path leads to Gaul. Each night, I have the same two visions. One of a field of wheat stalks swaying in the wind. Another of bright, burning flames, trampling horse hooves, and loud screams. My people, the Visigoths, live peacefully in the rich lands of southern Gaul. Our farms flourish, and our cattle grow in number every day. But for all our fortune, I cannot shake the ominous visions I have every night. Like Alaric, I have seen the future. The Huns are coming. And they will stop at nothing.